In the dark shadows, in the white cold, fearlessly we search for knowledge new and old. We drink the strong spirits and read the ancient tomes. The order of the Abracast. We are the brave and the bold. The Abracast. Occult, history, conspiracy, and violence.
Please note the explicit content indicator. This means that I use adult language. I do not speak in a humorless, public radio hushed monotone. I am excited and enthusiastic about the information that I present and the topics I discuss. You will hear ice rattle in my glass throughout the show. On the show, I joke about bodily functions, sex acts, religion, and politics. The topics may seem random or scattered through the back catalog. A list of show topics in chronological order is provided on the featured topic link at Advertise.com. If any of these issues might trigger you, this might not be the podcast for you, and I wish you good luck finding a show more to your liking. It's that time again. The music is low. The party is over. The fire is dying down, and all the ordinary people passed out long ago. Now we are the only ones left. Hey guys, it's Sean. Thanks for tuning in. Something a little bit different today. For the supporters of the show, if you support at a certain level, it's the Vessel of the Art tier. It's the $10 tier. One of the rewards, I guess, not that it's a reward, but one of the things we do is a phone conversation, one monthly phone call, just to chit chat, say hi. We don't have to talk about the show or anything, just to kind of way to get to know each other a little bit better. I have one listener at that level that won't answer his messages. So Matt, I'm talking to you if you're listening to this. And so this is the first one of these kind of calls that I actually recorded, and I got Ryan's permission to play it. So it's interesting. We got to a lot of interesting topics. So if you're looking for a straight, hard-edged kind of show talking about, anything we usually talk about, this is kind of, it's just a little bit different. So on top of all the other disclaimers that I've added at the beginning of these episodes, that's another one. I should come up with a name for these that is different. I thought I'll think about it. But while in the midst of our conversation, we stumble across this idea of doing a fast. And maybe some listeners would like to join me doing like a 4-day or 3-day after the holidays fast. Maybe we could kind of turn it into a thing as of fucking de-Turkifying ourselves, because we all eat a little too much, drink a little too much over the holidays. At least God knows I fucking do. So I'll have more information about that on next week's Sunday show. I'll hammer out some parameters and ideas if anybody's interested. I'm an easy guy to get a hold of. So without further ado, just like with every episode, I want to go ahead and give a toast to my Patreon and Subscribe Star supporters. So this is to absent friends. Here. Without further ado, let's get this conversation with this bright young man underway.
This call is being recorded.
Okay. officially we're recording.
Okay, cool.
So, did you grow like were you did you grow up with like a religious background in Michigan?
No, my family really never discussed religion. My grandma was actually super religious until when my grandpa died, and then she kind of took this like God has forsaken me attitude,
Yeah.
because that was like her life and he was gone. So we really never talked about it. And yeah, yeah, religion wasn't really even a thing for me
So,
growing up.
were you like a weird kid in other ways? Like a lot of people go like, "Oh, I was raised on like In Search of" or something like that. Were you interested in that kind of stuff?
I was raised by the internet, um,
Okay.
early 4chan and stuff like that.
So, 4chan, um, so like the conspiracy stuff on 4chan, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, yeah, the paranormal board on there, X, is where I hung out a lot, and they they got into a lot of conspiracy related stuff and paranormal and extraterrestrial, and occult, and yeah, I was really into that. Um,
So,
yeah.
okay, so let's put a finer point on it. Like, what kind of occult stuff were you looking at on 4chan?
Um, mostly mostly in the early days it was just people talking about possessions.
Oh,
That was what
okay.
I was really into. I liked the fact that there could be this like good versus evil thing taking place inside of one body.
Oh, that's interesting. And
Yeah,
it's like,
that concept.
hidden, right? It's like you can only see it around the edges sometimes.
Well, the fact that the person inside is the only one that really knows what's going on. Like you you can say, "Oh, I'm possessed. It helped me. I have this demon in me," but how do you really describe that to someone if it's really happening to you?
Yeah, so it's interesting. I mean, you've probably heard me say like magic as psychology, talk a little bit about that. And I think that that's probably like the most boiled down sort of example of the kind of stuff that I'm talking about when I say that kind of stuff. Like, a person dealing with like this dark evil like guilt or the weird kink or personality trait or something. It's just like the purest sort of example of trying to deal with that shadow self part of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Almost almost fighting against yourself and in a battle that either you lose or you lose.
Right. Yeah, and just the fact that it's all like literally hidden, it's all literally like occulted, is
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
It reminds me of that meme, that is one of those fucking self-help memes that are like, you never know what kind of battle the person next to you is waging in their personal life. Yeah,
Yeah.
man, I think that's super interesting.
Yeah, that I, not saying that I ever really believed in the whole the true meaning of demons in someone, but yeah, I did really take that psychological look at it where the demons are kind of more of the metaphorical everyone has their demons kind of
Right.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's interesting. And then it's like, on the other side of it, you have like the faith healers or like the fucking like Bob Larson kind of characters that are like, you know, laying hands on someone and like driving the demons out of them.
Yeah, yeah. That's that's actually a thing where me and one of my friends send back and forth in messages is the one where he's like hitting the people with their jacket, Like he's just like knocking demons out of people with his jacket, and they fall into the crowd.
It's a,
That whole thing has always been hilarious to me. Like you're not who who are you to say that you're gonna be the one to knock these demons out of people?
yeah. So the messages that you're sending is actually Bob Larson hitting someone with his banishing demons with his jacket.
Yeah, he has like a suit jacket. And he's like beating people from the crowd.
He wrote geez, way back in the 90s, he wrote this book on Satanism, and it was so hilarious. I actually stole it from my school library, and I actually thought that I had it here in my studio, but I was talking to another listener on the phone the other day, and she started talking about it. So we started talking about Bob Larson, and I ripped my house apart trying to find this book. It still has the Elyria West Public Library fucking stamp on the inside of it.
That's great.
Yeah, so I wish I could find it. Yeah, man, Bob Larson is a character. The whole book is just a farce. But yeah,
It's someone speaking out of their ass mostly, right?
yeah, that's what I think. I mean, it's obvious he knows like the scripture and stuff, but but then on the other side of it, you have like the kind of ritual magic part, like that the Catholics do. And I mean, I'm not saying that that's weird. One's weirder than the other. It's just funny how far apart they are in their kind of like methodology, I guess.
Well, that's another thing I've been thinking about a lot recently is how much everything is ritual. Like I recently just quit smoking, and I realized how much of that addiction was just the ritual of going outside and lighting up and sitting out there and doing the motions.
Right.
I
And yeah, it's like exactly how long it takes you to get through one cigarette. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's like your body is just like, okay, well, you're done with that now, motherfucker. Let's go back inside.
yeah, and that really opened up my eye to like how most things that we do in life are these ritual progressions. They're I don't really want to say autopiloted, but like they're really just so ingrained in what we do that they become, it's this step and this step and this step. That's the ritual.
Yeah, there's this thing when it comes to like not getting too like woo woo, but like in like mind control brainwashing techniques. There's this idea called psychic driving. And basically what it is you just have one message, and you just make someone listen to it like every hour, for like, even when they're sleeping, they have like a headset on and they're listening to whatever this one message is. And
Yeah,
eventually it winds up coming, they wind up doing whatever the message is. And just like how we're raised and how we go through our life, we are kind of doing that. Some kind of Pavlovian training we're giving ourselves. So I just went through the same thing with food, because I started experimenting with fasting, and
hmm,
like literally, I it's like you get like 4 days in, maybe 3 days in, before you're like, I'm kind of actually really hungry. You realize how much of a mind fuck it is. It's just like, oh, it's time to eat. Like, I should go get some food.
yeah,
It kind of like resets your whole thinking about, well, food, about mealtime and stuff. And then it just like about everything. Like, well, why do I come home and just sit down on the couch and watch TV? It's because it's the same thing you've done for fucking 5 years of your life or whatever it is. You just trained yourself into doing it.
yeah. So are you doing like intermittent fasting or days long or?
Yeah, well, so I started doing intermittent fasting, which basically, at least to me, I mean, everybody has their own terms or whatever. Basically, just means to me like you cut out all your meals except dinner, and like you eat dinner at the
Yeah,
same time every day. Um,
yeah, that's
and I,
basically what it would mean to me.
and then like after I did that for a few days, I was like, I'm gonna go 48 hours. And so like I did my
Yeah,
first 48-hour fast, and I flew by it. When it was getting time to be over, I was actually like, I could do another day easy. But then I was like, no, because, I'm just doing baby steps, because I know I'm not going to be able to do more than like 5 days, because I can't stay off the booze for longer than that. So, so
Yeah.
So then I did 3 days, and then I actually did 4 days. So that's like the longest I did. With only thing I'm taking in is water, basically.
That's I've never done 4 days. I've done two, and that was, and I was young when I did that. I think I was 16 or 17 when I did that, just to see if I could stop myself from following the pattern.
Yeah,
And that was
it's
really hard for me.
it's interesting. When I was in college, I actually went 5 days without eating, but it wasn't because of some experiment. It was just because I was broke. Like I had I had enough money to like get back and forth to school and work, and to buy a pack of cigarettes. And so like I literally went like 5 days without food. But I wasn't thinking about, like the philosophical implications of it then. It was just a matter of survival. So
Yeah.
but yeah, it's definitely interesting, and you definitely kind of have to plan it out. Um because I usually do the cooking in my house, so like I have to make sure there's enough stuff that my wife will eat, because I don't even want to go into the kitchen. You know what I mean? And like
Yeah.
and the other thing is to keep busy. So like when I was doing my 4-day fast, I actually recorded for like an hour a night that week, and I did like a 3-hour Zarathustra episode, and it was just like 1 hour of it was like day one of my fast, and like the second hour is like day two, and day three, and I didn't do the day four. But it's funny because I want to kind of go back and re-listen to that to see if I'm like deteriorating as the hours click by.
So to ask you a question on that real fast, did you have any psychological effect from, like, was there a threshold where you felt you broke through into some I don't know, like trance state or something like that?
No, I didn't like have any like any psychic awakenings or like anything like that. The weirdest thing that happened to me is that, so I'm usually like it's really hard for me to go to sleep. But even when I was fasting, even when I could actually get to sleep, I would wake up in the middle of the night just with all this crazy energy. So usually when I can't sleep, it's because my mind races. But when I was fasting and I woke up in the middle of the night, it was just like I was pumping just like energy. It's like my body just got to like where it started like burning like fat reserves or something. I just get like these weird jolts of energy at strange times.
Hmm.
That's like the weirdest thing. Now there was like also some like biological stuff, like my tongue started to get this weird coating on it, and I don't know what that's all about. Some places on the internet say that that's detoxification, where other places say it's just because your skin cells are still dying, but you're not doing anything with you're not eating any food or whatever to get that shit out of your mouth. So it's just like,
Yeah.
it just builds up in there, which sounds more reasonable than it's a symptom of detoxification. But I mean,
Yeah.
my doctorate is not in that field.
No. Um, yeah, that's weird. I've heard a lot about fasting where people say that on long-term fast, there's like this breakthrough moment where you kind of just like have a threshold where after you pass it, you just get this clarity point.
Oh, well, gee, maybe I didn't do it long enough. I mean, I don't know. Like, there's a YouTube videos of this lady she did where she did like a month, and she did like a video every day, and like some of them it's just her fucking like crying and breaking down, and some of
Yeah.
them is like her just being like, man, I really want a fucking cheeseburger today, or whatever. So I mean, people have done it for way longer than I have. It just seems like I just topped out at like this 4-day mark, and ever since that one, I haven't thought about doing it really again. Maybe I should schedule one for like New Year, like after the New Year's. Get
Maybe
all
you
this.
should invite listeners to maybe follow you on that.
Yeah, like maybe like some kind of like a challenge or something. I don't
Yeah.
know. I'll think about like de-Turkify. Get all that holiday food out of you.
Yeah, I would be into that.
Yeah, man. Okay, so I'll think about that. I'll make a note fast.
Cats yelling at me.
How many cats you got?
Uh, Me and my girlfriend actually foster cats. So we have a crazy amount of cats right now. We have 19.
Oh my god. I have.
We
I
actually
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
we take in we live in an area where strays get dumped a lot, so we take them in and spay and neuter them and let the ones that are already pregnant give birth and then spay and neuter the kittens and try and find them homes.
Wow, you're doing the Lord's work,
Yeah.
man. I have 3 cats, and they drive me nuts. I can't imagine what 19 would do to me.
Yeah, we have 9 in our bedroom right now that
Oh
are
my
in like dog crates for most of the day, and we let them out like scheduled.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, I imagine you'd have to have some kind of order.
yeah, it's a lot of work, but it's really uh it's really rewarding at the end of the day.
Yeah, yeah. My wife, she does like, uh, she's like friends with this Elkins, West Virginia Humane Society, and they posted this picture of this cat, and they're like, "This cat is about to break our record. She's been here for just about a year, and no one has adopted her yet." My my wife is just like, "I'm going to get that fucking cat." She fucking drove out to West Virginia
Yeah.
to adopt the cat. Um, so yeah, like we totally have soft spots for them.
Yeah, there's no shelters around here that will take in cats that are no kill shelters. They wouldn't last a year.
Wow. Yeah, we have. I
Yeah.
think there's like one no kill shelter in the city here. I think. But yeah, so my best friend's mom was a she was like the first female motorcycle cop on this side of the Mississippi. Um, and she married another city cop, and they both retired early, and they moved out to the country and started a rescue farm.
Mhm.
So there's like horses and fucking donkeys and sheep and pig. They got so many fucking pigs. Whenever I go out there, I feel like uh the end of that movie Hannibal with the cannibal pigs. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it's like on their farm. It's just a fucking like 100 pigs up there. It's
That,
crazy.
that's crazy.
Yeah, just, everyone run around saving these animals.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's a rewarding thing to do.
Yeah, man. Well, God bless you.
Thank you.
So, so what are your what are your favorite kinds of shows that we do? You like the occult stuff for the? I mean, obviously you
I
like the occult stuff.
I really don't. I listen to everything that you put out, but if I was to say what my favorite stuff is when you kind of go off book and give more of your opinion and what's actually in your brain, not written down in a book, because uh, I don't know how to say this without sounding harsh, and trust me, I'm not being harsh. I've gone through most of your podcast in like 3 months, and it's incredible. But if I wanted to read the book like fully, it's there for me to read it. I'm listening to it for your insight on it, and that's really the best part for me.
yeah. Well, I'm trying to find that perfect balance of it. I mean, like the
The Zarathustra stuff that I've been
yeah,
listening to recently is amazing, because it's like half and half. It's like you read the book and then you just turn around and you're like, well, I think this is this, and that really speaks to me a lot, because it's like,
right.
well, I know this book and I've read these pages and this person's reading them, and how do our thoughts compare and contrast on the same issue?
Yeah, well, that's interesting. Thank you for that feedback. I really do appreciate it.
So
And
I, like I
I'm
said, I don't mean it to sound harsh at all, but
no, it's cool.
that's really what it is.
No, it's cool. I understand that. That's why I was asking.
Yeah.
Feedback's valuable, and I adjust stuff all the time depending on feedback that I get. So um,
Hmm.
there was a time when people were like, they're like, people were like, stop commentating on it and just give me straight episodes. So I tried that for a little while, and then people were like, dude, there's no, your personality is now gone. So I was like, okay,
Yeah.
well, so
You're not going to please everyone.
yeah. But yeah. So thank
That's why I think the Zarathustra episodes are really the best, because it splits it like straight down the middle.
cool. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, they're great.
Thanks, man. Um, so what else is going on? Do you have anything else for me?
I have a couple questions.
Yeah, sure.
Well, I've been reading this book, Bronze Age Mindset. Have you heard of that?
Mm-mm.
It's a Bronze Age Mindset, and the author's name is Bronze Age Pervert. It's
Okay.
it's it's super Nietzsche. It's like nihilist and like uh, follow me, but don't follow me, follow yourself, kind of that whole
Okay.
feel.
Is it
Trying to
is it nonfiction?
it's yeah, it's nonfiction. It's written by someone who goes by the name Bronze Age Pervert. No one actually knows who it is.
Okay. I'm gonna look at it. Okay, so it's real Nietzsche-ish.
Yeah, it's super good so far for me.
Cool. So, did you have a question, or you just want to ask me
I
if I've
just
heard of the
wanted
book?
to know if you had heard of that book.
No, I'm
If you
gonna
did, I wanted to have
I'm
a
gonna
couple follow-up questions.
yeah, I'm gonna look at it. Is it an old book or a new book?
No, it's new. I don't know exactly what year, but within the last 5 years, for sure.
So, are you into Nietzsche? Like you you do like philosophy stuff or
Um, I
courses or
I'm I pick and choose different things from different philosophers. I was really into Stoic philosophy, going through high school. Um, Marcus Aurelius and Seneca. Um, that kind of really structured how I uh, go through my life nowadays. Kind of not holding on to material things and
I was gonna say like
uh,
so philosophy is one of my weak spots, which is why it was crazy for me to just pick up Zarathustra. But um, yeah, if I recall, like Stoicism is one of those philosophical outlooks that are a lot like um, the Gnostics or Gnosticism, right?
yeah, yeah. They really uh, it, it's really about just being non-material.
Which is all that's all Gnostic. That's all Gnostic right
Yeah,
there.
yeah. It's it's uh it's a really freeing way to think about stuff. You really don't know how much your attachments to meaningless things can bother you until you kind of let them go.
Yeah, every time every time my wife buys a new pair of shoes, that's what I think. Like, you gotta let some of that shit go, baby.
Yeah, I actually had an experience recently where I bought a jacket and I gave it to someone to um sew a back patch onto, and I got it back and there was a cigarette burn or some kind of burn in the sleeve, and my girlfriend kind of freaked out a little bit, and she's like, "Oh man, that sucks." I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
It's a jacket. I really like the whole thing could have burned. I'm not better off for having it. I have another jacket. I'll just put that on.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, we had a experience where, you know, something dumped on the carpet, in the living room, and there was like a big like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, it's a fucking carpet, that's what it's there for. Like, do you think there's
Yeah.
like is there like some state of grace where everything exists without ever being worn or tread upon or stained? It's just like that's just what it is.
Yeah, that's what it exists for.
Right. It's there to get fucking stained. Like literally.
Yeah.
Like that's. So this month on the Fulgar Correspondentia, just a fancy word for the mailing list. Since we're heading into the fourth quarter of our Genesis series, there's a little brief Genesis timeline, according to me, that's up there. Also, since we are going to be getting into Jacob and Esau, I finally sat down and started to work on a map of the wrong son, the wrong blessing idea that we've been running into pretty much this whole Genesis thing. Sat down and worked out some pretty cool details, so I think it's pretty cool. Also, as always, you can look at my latest up-to-date version of the tarot cards that I'm designing. All that if you just sign into the mailing list, all that bonus stuff. But the Fellowcraft episode on the Patreon and Subscribe Star this month, we're starting to look at and dissect the work of Milton William Cooper in an episode entitled The UFO Conspiracy Part 1.
Learn more at abracast.com. Get bonus content by signing up for the mailing list. Get all that plus many exclusive episodes by supporting the show at patreon.com or subscribestar.com.
Yeah, the Gnostic stuff, going back to which episodes I really like that you do, the Gnostic stuff it really speaks to me, because of that
Yeah,
Stoic
man.
upbringing.
Boy, that all that Gnosticism stuff really gets my dick hard. Like I
Yeah.
don't do enough of it. Like I need to get back and do another little series on them or something.
That's actually kind of a meme in our house between me and my girlfriend, because that's one of the first messages you sent me on Instagram was that Gnostic shit really gets my dick hard. So that's kind of a meme between us.
That's funny.
She'll just bust that out like randomly, like, man, that Gnostic shit really gets my dick hard.
That's hilarious. So
Yeah,
well, okay, cool. I remember also us messaging back and forth, and you talking about Rasputin. So what's up with that? Where did you pick this Rasputin business up at?
I've just always really loved the story of Rasputin. Starting back from when I was a kid and the bastardization that Disney did of Rasputin. They kind of, for lack of better words, they kind of chopped his dick off in Anastasia and kind of made him weak and kind of made him whimsical when he was nothing of the sort. He was a badass and kind of as real of an evil sorcerer as you can get.
Yeah, the thing that I know about Rasputin, besides like all the inner politics with the czar and all this, is the like the stuff that Ghostbusters stole for Vigo the Carpathian. You know, like he was
Yeah,
hanged and shot and poisoned and cut in half, and he still was kicking.
yeah. Well, this guy Rasputin, he tricked that family into thinking that he was like some magical healer by letting that kid rest. He would just kick everyone out of that part of the house so the kid could sleep to feel better. Like that was his magic, was sleep. So,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Oh my God, you're healing our child. How can we repay you?" And he's like, "Let me kind of rule the government." They're
Right.
like, okay.
Yeah, that first Hellboy movie, he was like the main dude in that.
Oh man, it's been forever since I've seen Hellboy.
Yeah, he was like the dude that was using the techno sorcery to like open up the portal to bring the Urugu Jihad in, or whatever they were called. So that's always interesting. Yeah, he's a character, and it's great because it's like, the way that we stumble through life nowadays, I think, is like the evil people are real heroic looking sometimes. Well, often,
Yeah,
like they look real, squeaky clean and all this. But when you look at Rasputin, you're like, oh no, that guy's fucking evil. Like he looks evil.
yeah, like there's pictures of him, and you can just look at him and be like, this guy was different.
Right. Yeah.
He had something going on. I mean,
Yeah. So one of my like guilty pleasures is epic rap battles in history. Are you familiar with that?
I am, yeah.
So are you familiar with the Rasputin one where you
I didn't know there was a Rasputin one. I'll
yeah,
have to look at that.
he's it's Rasputin versus, how does it start? I think it starts with Frederick the Great. Rasputin versus Frederick the Great, I think. And then after he beats Frederick the Great, Alexander the Great comes in, and after he beats Alexander the Great, Pompey the Great raps for a little while, and then it ends with Rasputin versus Catherine the Great, and it's really funny. It's a good one.
Oh yeah, I'll have to check that out. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, man, it's good stuff. So, you got anything else?
I also wanted to ask you. I just finished the episode on the witch trials, and I wanted to ask you if you had ever looked into the um the reports about like ergot in having something to do with all of the witchcraft hysteria.
Yeah, so okay, ergot it's a weird mold that grows on certain grains, or and it has hallucinogenic properties to it.
Yeah, it's almost
Uh
like organic LSD.
yeah. So I have actually heard of that as being a driver of the hysteria. But let me ask you if you've ever heard of this French town called Pont Saint Esprit. Have you ever heard of that?
I have not.
Okay, so I want to say in like the 40s or maybe the 50s, shit, maybe even the 30s. I don't know. But this town, like everyone in this town just went fucking bananas, and there were some deaths involved. It's like the whole town just decided to like fucking riot. It's like that George Romero movie. Fuck, I can't remember the name of it, but like everyone in the town just went like bonkers, and people couldn't figure out what the fuck happened to them. And so the official story is that it was an ergot poisoning. It was on their bread or something, and they're all eating probably these fucking baguettes or something like that with this ergot on them, and they all
Yeah.
went crazy. But there's also some people, like a theory, like a conspiracy theory or whatever, that the CIA had picked this town out to do MK Ultra LSD testing to them. And I think
Yeah.
that's very interesting.
Well, now that we know that was surely a thing that they did, where they
Fuck.
dosed mass populations of people.
Right. Or like fucking like mental institutions or prisons, or there was at least one incident of dosing in like an army base, or like some specific barracks on an army base. So, that's interesting. I guess
Yeah.
my idea is like, why just choose this one fucking French town to to do it? But
Well,
I mean,
makes
who
it
knows?
super
There could,
clandestine if it seems random.
yeah, right, yeah. So that's interesting. Do you think that that's
I
what
just
was going on with the witch trials? You think it was Ergot thing?
I just really like the idea of it being caused by something other than the normal things that people put forward, like racism and people backstabbing their neighbors and stuff like that. I'd like to think that there was something else involved there.
Yeah, I mean, it makes humanity a little less shitty if if you can introduce something like that to it.
Yeah, it not just taking the blame off of the people, but kind of adding another layer to the story to make it more interesting in kind of a fucked up way.
Yeah.
Um,
So
they
yeah.
also think that ergot or some type of organic hallucinogen had something to do with like the dancing fevers that people used to get, where they would just dance to death.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, so it's a thing. Like Ergot isn't like a conspiracy theory or something. And it's
No,
interesting that, like, yeah,
ergot
it's
was
like,
actually in the anarchist cookbook, if I remember correctly.
that's also interesting. I do have a copy of that as well. I'm gonna have to go look at it after this. Yeah, because I know they have like how to make LSD with fucking banana peels and shit in there. So,
Yeah, that's maybe that's what I'm confusing it with, but I remember something like that being in the anarchist cookbook.
yeah, well, it's kind of interesting because it's almost like what back to the beginning of our talk, like about like about Satan, or like possession, like we'll think about like all the things that we could chalk, you know, that sort of stuff up to, like schizophrenics were like, maybe that's what possession is maybe it's fucking like wild, un checked schizophrenia. Or what
Yeah,
if it's like
yeah.
a small incident of ergot poisoning? I mean, it's it is super interesting to think that there's like a material, like a for real elemental component to these things.
It
Wow.
just adds that tangibleness to it, something you could actually like reach out and touch yourself. Like if you really wanted to, I'm sure you could have ergot growing in your house by the end of the week
Right.
if you did enough research and looked at the legality of it, of course.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, that is interesting. Hmm. So that's one of the hard things about doing a podcast like this, like mine, is because you have like a group of shows and they all kind of wind up doing the same kind of thing. So I am always like, if I'm going to do something like the witch trials, which there are hundreds of episodes of hundreds of hours of people talking about the Salem witch trials, you have to find like a different angle that isn't common. So that's why I thought it would be cool to use the Malefice Maleficarum, as kind of like, maybe this is what kicked that whole fucking thing off. I thought that was an interesting sort of take on it too.
Yeah, that was one I had never heard before, and I actually looked into it after I heard your episode, and it really fits the mold of that period, like
Yeah, because you have this
to a
Jamaican
T.
Yeah, you have like this Jamaican slave who knew about the Malleus Maleficarum, and like the Puritans wouldn't give a shit about it because it's all like a Catholic thing. Um,
Yeah,
so I thought that was super interesting. And she's like telling these little kids these stories about having sex with demons and stuff, and then it's like, well, okay, so the next step is they start they start fucking with their parents about demons and stuff, and the next thing you know, they're fucking burning a bunch of fucking witches in Salem.
yeah, that the human only element of the story that you told is chilling to me because
Yeah,
there's nothing there. There's no motive, there's no outside influence. It's just
no, it reminded me
I'm
of
gonna
the. I'm
go
sorry.
ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to say when I was doing it, it reminded me of. So there was an old episode about the Armenian genocide, and
Yeah,
it reminded me a lot of like that. Like there is no compassion in this thing, or maybe it's just inverted compassion. Like the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Like we got to
yeah,
get these dirty fucking devil worshippers, these witches out of our town. And it turns into like slaughtering your own family and stuff. Like it's crazy.
yeah. The inverted compassion that really really seeps in there for me because that's what it is in the witch trial aspect. It's let me exterminate this danger to my family.
Yeah, and you wind up destroying family members or your
Yeah,
friends and neighbors family members. Like yeah, man, it's so crazy and dangerous. Fucking human beings are weird, dude.
yeah. It's that's really what got me into philosophy in the first place, is just trying to figure out the human condition and being able to see it from as many angles as possible.
It's difficult, because a lot of times people are just bullshitting themselves. I think
Yeah,
another like circle back around to the beginning is like, people don't know why they do things, and they justify it and make up bullshit, to like to explain it away. And sometimes you don't even know what it's all about. Like why do you have to eat 3 meals a day, or why do you have to smoke a pack of cigarettes a day, or anything
yeah.
like
It's
that.
it's the ritual. It's the way I've been doing it for however long I can remember. It's what I do.
Right.
Well, that's not a reason.
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
So how are you doing on the quitting smoking?
I'm done
You're
completely
done.
for over a month now. Yeah,
That's so good, man.
that's
I was a pack
that's
a
a
day
demon that I exercised.
I was a pack a day smoker for a long number of years, and one day I just threw the pack away, and I was like, I'm fucking done. uh I noticed I was like having problems like like walking up some steps, and I was just like, what the fuck is going on? And then I was like, I sat down and I figured how much money I'm just burning, literally. And I was like, I got to get out of this smoking thing.
Yeah, yeah. There's nothing good that comes from it. That's really what cemented it in my head. Is like, what am I getting out of this? And it's nothing.
All right. What kind of cigarettes do you smoke?
Well, actually, at the end, I was smoking shisha, like hookah tobacco. I
Oh,
would I
okay.
would set up a hookah like every day and sit outside and smoke that, which is terrible for you.
Wow. So it wasn't even cigarettes. I smoked a hookah in Amsterdam once.
Yeah, see, I was doing that like once or twice a day for like a half hour to an hour, and yeah, like getting nothing. Like
Right.
just like, oh, well, I'm sitting here doing nothing besides smoking. Like I could be doing something productive. I could be reading. I could be doing something else, but no, I'm just doing this because that's
Yeah.
what I've been doing for so long.
You program yourself.
Yep.
Yeah, man, that's interesting. Well, congratulations on getting out from under that. Did you keep your hookah around? Did you get rid of it?
No, it's still sitting in my kitchen. Actually, there's a hookah in there and some coals, and it's just sitting there as a reminder.
Yeah. Well, you seem like an interesting cat. I don't think I've ever known a guy that has a hookah in his house and just chills out and smokes hookahs.
Well, I'm happy that I'm the first, and hopefully I'll be the last, because it's terrible.
So, I know that you're not a gin drinker, but it looked like...
Actually, I drank some gin jihads recently.
That's what I was going to say. I was like, your Instagram sure looks like you're a gin drinker, buddy.
But I wanted to tell you, your advice to get the bottom shelf cheap shit is good advice, because I bought bottom shelf shit the first time and it was delicious. And then I went back and I bought some like locally made in Cincinnati gin, and it's dog shit. It was twice the price and it's dog shit.
Yeah, always go for the bottom shelf gin. That is literally, that's like my thing.
But no, I'm actually more of a bourbon drinker.
Yeah, I was for a long time. When I was in the Army, I started on whiskey, and then for some reason I was like, I just need to change. I need to change it up a little bit. And I was like, well, shit, if it's good enough for Churchill, it's good enough for me. So I'm going to try some gin. And it just kind of stuck. Yeah.
I could see how. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I like it, man. All right, man. Well, I'm going to go ahead and just wrap this up, unless you have any other, anything else for me?
No, I'm good.
All right. Well, we'll schedule a time and check in next month. If you're willing, and you know, cool, and you know, congratulations on the smoking thing. It's so good. Like, I just would love just to be like, everyone put these goddamn cigarettes down. But hey, you know, it's a free country. You can do what you want.
Yeah.
But definitely the right decision.
Thank you.
All right, Ryan, man. Keep in touch, and like I said, we'll touch base next month if you have time.
Yeah, man. Thanks.
And thank you for all your support. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for the content. It's amazing. It gets me through my day.
Awesome, bro. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to this episode. Send an email or visit us on social media to let us know what you think about this topic. And please remember to leave a 5-star rate and review.
Hey, did you learn something? Did you laugh? Supporting me is a way for you to be a part of the Advercast and ensure its growth and sustainability. It also means I can create a normal schedule for shows and bonus shows, as well as the exclusive Fellowcraft episodes. By supporting the show, you are not only a listener, but you are a part of the show. You supporting the show gives me a way to offer fun rewards as a thank you for showing your appreciation and support for our projects. Do you have an idea for a reward that you don't see? Let me know. My supporters are my partners. I currently pay for you to listen to the Advercast. Not only do I pay the hosting bills out of my own pocket, I volunteer my time and talent to each and every episode of the Advercast. the price of books, the time and resources of reading and researching, the massive amounts of gin and tonic needed, the equipment it takes to record the shows, the time and resources it takes to create the bonus material, and the cost to maintain the internet presence. Is it worth your support? I don't know. I'm proud of the Abercast, and I feel like I'm improving all the time. In addition to creating the show that you dig and that you are excited about, I also have a full-time commitment and other obligations. So why financial support? All of the supporters help me focus my time on the quality and development of the podcast. And what if you can't afford, $1 or $3 or $10 or whatever a month? Believe me, I get that. There are many degrees of support, but if you can't support the show financially, please consider leaving a 5-star rate and review on your preferred podcast app. And don't forget that you could sign into the mailing list and still unlock a lot of bonus content. Thank you. I cannot put into words how much it means to me that you listen to the show each time I post a new episode. Your feedback, support, and love of the stories that we talk about here is what keeps me going.